This observation changed decades of scientific thinking. A single drop of blood on the African savanna can sustain another life. Beneath the thick armor of a white rhinoceros, hundreds of parasites are feeding. Most are ticks, patient and silent, slowly weakening one of Africa's largest animals. The rhino's skin is thick, but parasites find the softest spots to attack. They cluster around the eyes, inside the ears, and beneath the heavy jaw. The massive rhino struggles to find relief from the constant irritation of these pests. It seeks out a sturdy tree, hoping the rough bark will provide some comfort. The rhino leans its weight against the trunk, scratching its itchy, parasite-ridden skin. But the tree can only do so much against the deep-seated ticks and flies. Then, a small visitor arrives, landing softly on the rhino's formidable horn. The red-billed oxpecker is small beside this giant, yet perfectly at home here. Without wasting a second, the bird begins its search for a protein-rich meal. Its slender bill moves with astonishing accuracy, plucking ticks from the rhino's skin. One tick disappears, then another, as the bird cleans the rhino's massive body. For generations, this relationship seemed easy to understand as a perfect partnership. The bird gained food, and the rhino lost parasites. A classic case of mutualism. But modern researchers have looked closer, revealing a more complicated story beneath. Cameras have captured behavior that challenges our simple understanding of this savanna bond. Sometimes, the oxpecker ignores the ticks and focuses on something else entirely. It walks toward a healing wound, its sharp bill ready to intervene. With a gentle peck, the bird opens the thin layer of new skin. A tiny bead of fresh blood appears, and the oxpecker begins to drink. It is no longer just eating parasites, it is feeding on the rhino itself. This observation changed decades of scientific thinking about the bird's true intentions. Is the oxpecker really a helper, or simply an opportunist exploiting a giant? The answer is complex, as the rhino is an entire ecosystem on 4 legs. Ticks are not the only insects living on this massive, gray mammal. Horseflies gather around the eyes, while blowflies search for any open wounds. Tiny insects hide deep between the folds of skin, where the rhino cannot reach. The oxpecker feeds on many of them, its diet changing throughout the day. It consumes flies, larvae, and even dried skin around old, itchy wounds. Despite the blood drinking, the bird offers something incredibly valuable in return for its meal. A white rhinoceros has surprisingly poor eyesight, making it vulnerable to distant threats. Objects become blurry beyond a short distance, leaving the rhino reliant on other senses. It depends on its hearing and its powerful sense of smell to detect danger. And sometimes, it depends on the tiny lookout standing high above its head. From the tip of the horn, the oxpecker watches the horizon constantly. It notes every movement, every shadow, and every unfamiliar sound in the wind. Suddenly, the bird freezes, its sharp eyes spotting a predator in the distance. A sharp alarm call echoes across the grasslands, alerting the rhino immediately. The rhinoceros stops grazing, its ears rotating to catch the source of the warning. Those few extra seconds of warning can be enough to avoid a deadly encounter. The bird's vigilance provides a safety net that the rhino's own eyes cannot. But while the oxpecker watches the ground, another predator watches from the sky. A martial eagle circles high above, its sharp eyes fixed on the small bird. The eagle ignores the 2-ton rhino, focusing only on the agile oxpecker. Without warning, the eagle folds its wings and dives like a living spear. The oxpecker reacts instantly, launching into the air to escape the talons. One sharp turn, then another, as the bird maneuvers through the thorny bushes. The eagle's attack fails, and the small bird finds safety in the thicket.
Minutes later, the oxpecker quietly returns to the same rhinoceros to continue its work.
The cycle begins again, as if the life-threatening drama never even happened. Dark clouds slowly gather overhead as the savanna prepares for a coming storm. The wind carries the smell of rain, and heavy drops begin to fall. Water flows across the rhino's cracked horn and down its massive, grey back. The oxpecker crouches low against the storm, its feathers soaked by the downpour. Still, it refuses to leave its post, for the parasites and opportunities remain. Eventually, the storm drifts away, and sunlight returns to the vast African plains. The relationship between rhino and bird has survived for millions of years. It is not a perfect partnership, but in the savanna, it is survival.